I used to believe that getting older meant holding on tightly to memories, to heirlooms, to every little thing that reminded me of the life I've lived. But over time, I've learned something that surprised me and set me free. Sometimes peace doesn't come from what we keep. It comes from what we gently let go. If you're like me, someone in the later chapters of life, maybe retired, maybe looking around your home and feeling a little overwhelmed, I want to tell you, you're not alone. I've been there. And the truth is, we don't have to do it all at once. We don't have to get rid of everything. We just have to start with care, with intention, and with grace. Today, I'm going to share with you 7 simple decluttering habits that changed my life after turning 60. These are not strict rules or some perfect method. They're small shifts, gentle habits that brought more peace, more clarity, and more calm into my everyday life. So if you've been craving more breathing room, not just in your home, but in your heart, I hope you'll stay with me. Let's take this journey together, one mindful step at a time. Habit 1. The 10-10 Peace Rule. This first habit is one of the simplest things I started doing, and also one of the most powerful. I call it the 10-10 Peace Rule. That's 10 minutes and 10 items. It may not sound like much, but trust me, small things can bring big peace. Here's how it works. Once a day, usually after my morning coffee, before I get pulled into the busy moments of the day, I set a timer for 10 minutes. That's all. And then I choose 10 things in my home to let go of. Now, these don't have to be major things. Some days it's just expired coupons, old receipts in my purse, or a pair of socks with a hole. Other days it might be a mug I never use or a candle I've been saving for years, but never light. And yes, sometimes it's something harder, like a book I once loved but know I won't read again. The point isn't the size of the item. The point is the habit. This little practice gently reminds me every day that I'm in control of what stays in my home and what doesn't. And when life feels messy or overwhelming, especially in this season of life, it gives me back a little peace, a little control. I think as we grow older, many of us develop an emotional attachment to things. Not because we're materialistic, but because those things hold memory. And I understand that. But here's what I've learned. I don't need to keep the item to keep the memory. My memories live inside me, not in a dusty drawer or a cluttered shelf. The 10-10 Peace Rule gives me permission to release the guilt, to say thank you to an item, and let it move on. Some things get tossed, some are donated, some go to my grandchildren, but every single one creates a little more space in my day and in my spirit. Over time, those 10-minute sessions added up. What started as a simple daily habit became a powerful rhythm in my life. My home started feeling lighter, calmer, and I started feeling more confident, like I was clearing space, not just in my house, but in my mind. So if you feel overwhelmed by where to start, this is the one. Don't wait for a free weekend or a big cleaning project. Just give yourself 10 minutes and pick 10 items. That's all. Do it gently. Do it with love. And do it knowing that every small step is moving you toward a more peaceful home and a more peaceful heart. Habit 2. Pretty doesn't mean it belongs. This next habit was a hard one for me to learn. Not because it's complicated, but because it asked me to change the way I saw value. For much of my life, I surrounded myself with things that were, well, pretty. China dishes with gold trim, delicate scarves I never wore, faces I picked up on sale because they might look nice somewhere. There was always a reason to keep something. And most of those reasons started with, but it's so pretty. And that's true. Many of them were beautiful. But over time I noticed something. All those beautiful things were taking up space I didn't have. They were gathering dust on shelves, crowding the back of cabinets, tucked away in boxes and closets I hardly opened. And the strangest thing, I wasn't using them. I was just keeping them. And then one day it hit me. Pretty doesn't mean it belongs. It was a quiet realization. I was holding a lovely glass dish, one I hadn't touched in years. And I remember thinking, I've moved this thing from one house to the next for over 2 decades, and not once have I used it. It wasn't serving me. It wasn't bringing joy. It was simply pretty. That's when I started asking myself new questions. Not, is it pretty? But, do I use this? Does it serve a purpose? Does it comfort me or bring me peace? If it didn't, I let it go. Sometimes that meant donating it. Other times it meant giving it to someone who could truly use or enjoy it. And you know what? It felt good, not guilty. Good. Whoa. Because what I realized is this. When we keep only the things that support our lives, not just decorate them, we make room for deeper joy, for clarity, for calm. Letting go of pretty things that no longer served me wasn't a loss. It was a return to what really mattered. Now when I'm out shopping or even browsing online, I pause before I buy. I might admire something. I might even pick it up and smile, but I no longer ask, do I like how it looks? Instead, I ask, will this add peace to my life? Will I actually use this in my day-to-day? If the answer is no, I let it stay on the shelf, and I walk away lighter. It's easy to fall into the trap of surrounding ourselves with objects that look good on the outside but create stress on the inside. But the truth is our homes are not museums. They're sanctuaries. They don't need to be filled with decorations. They need to be filled with meaning. So now I remind myself gently, beauty is not a good enough reason to hold on to something. Not anymore. I choose usefulness. I choose comfort. I choose peace. And I promise you this, once you start choosing that kind of peace, you won't miss the clutter. You'll wonder why you waited so long to let it go. Habit 3. The sock rule of simplicity. This habit might sound a little too simple, maybe even silly, but I promise you, it changed the way I think about daily peace. I call it the sock rule of simplicity. And the beauty of it lies in just how small yet effective it really is. Here's how it started. One afternoon, I was doing laundry. The kind of never-ending laundry that seems to grow even when no one's home. I sat on the couch sorting socks, and I realized I was spending 15 minutes trying to match all these little socks that didn't look quite the same. Some were slightly different shades of black. Some had tiny patterns. A few didn't have a match at all. And I just thought to myself, why am I doing this to myself? So the next time I went shopping, I made a decision. I bought a single pack of 12 identical socks. Same color, same length, same everything. And from that moment on, laundry became one step easier. I never had to match again. Every sock matched every other sock. It might seem like a small win, but it was bigger than I expected, because that moment taught me something deeper. We don't always need more variety. Sometimes what we need is fewer choices, less decision-making, more peace. Since then, I've started applying that lesson in other areas too. In my kitchen drawers, I keep only the utensils I actually use, not 5 kinds of spatulas. In my closet, I simplified my wardrobe so that most items pair well with each other. Getting dressed in the morning is easier. It's not about fashion, it's about freedom. The sock rule reminded me that when we remove unnecessary options, we reduce mental clutter. And let me tell you, mental clutter can be just as draining as physical clutter, maybe even more. If you've ever stood in front of a closet filled with clothes and said, I have nothing to wear, you know exactly what I mean. If you've ever rummaged through a drawer looking for the right charger or a matching lid to a plastic container, you felt that little spike of frustration. It's those tiny frustrations that add up and slowly chip away at our calm. Simplifying doesn't mean living without. It means choosing what works, what fits, what makes life easier. And sometimes, it really does start with something as small as a sock drawer. I've also started doing this for my grandchildren. When I buy socks or basics for them, I choose identical pairs. Easier for them, easier for their parents. Less sorting, less losing, more time spent playing or reading or laughing together. The sock rule is about more than laundry. It's a mindset. It's about choosing ease where ease is available. It's about creating little moments of calm in places we used to overlook. So the next time you're buying socks or anything, really, ask yourself, am I choosing this because it adds joy, or am I making things harder than they need to be? Sometimes the path to peace starts with something as humble as a matching pair of socks. Habit 4. Debit over debt. There was a time, not too long ago, when I thought having a credit card was just a part of being a responsible adult. You pay it off at the end of the month, earn some points, build your credit, and move on. At least, that's what I believe. But somewhere along the way, I started feeling anxious. I'd make a few extra purchases, thinking, I'll pay it off next month. And then the next month would come and something unexpected would happen. A car repair, a medical bill, a birthday gift. And suddenly, I was juggling more than I wanted. Sound familiar? I didn't go into deep debt, but I did go into something else. Mental debt. That low, steady hum of worry that follows you around when you know you owe someone something. So, a few years ago, I made a big decision. I put the credit cards away. Literally, I took them out of my wallet and placed them in the back of my filing cabinet. Since then, I've lived on a debit-only system. If I don't have the money, I don't buy it. Now, let me be clear. I'm not here to tell you credit cards are evil or that everyone should cut them up. I know for some people they make sense. But for me, for my peace of mind, this one change made a huge difference because when I use my debit card, I'm using money I already have. I'm not borrowing from tomorrow to pay for today. I'm not putting pressure on my future self. And that gives me a sense of calm that no credit reward ever could. There's another part of this too, and that's the buy now, pay later trap. You've probably seen it. These days, even small purchases come with the option to split payments. A $20 gadget, 3 easy installments. A pair of shoes, spread it over 4 months. It sounds harmless, but what I realized is that all those little future payments clutter the mind. They hang over your head even when you've forgotten what you bought. So now, if I want something, anything, I save for it first. I wait. And most of the time I end up realizing I didn't really need it anyway. The only exception in my life right now is our mortgage. That's a long-term investment we chose with care. But beyond that, everything we bring into our home is fully paid for with real dollars we've already earned. And let me tell you, there's a quiet confidence that comes with that. There's dignity in not owing. There's peace in knowing your money reflects your values. Living debt-free, even in small ways, isn't about being wealthy. It's about being wise. It's about choosing to live with less anxiety and more intention. Whoa. So if your wallet or your mind has been feeling heavy lately, I gently encourage you to try it just for a while. Set the credit card aside. Use only what you already have. Once. See how it feels. You may just find, as I did, that what you don't owe brings more peace than anything you could ever buy. Habit 5. The four-corner focus. There were many days, especially after I retired, when I'd look around my house and feel completely overwhelmed. I wasn't working full-time anymore. I had the hours, technically, but I didn't have the energy, not the mental energy, to face a room full of clutter, or the emotional energy to decide what to keep, what to toss, what to donate. I'd stand in the doorway of a room and think, where do I even start? That's when I came up with a little system that helped me more than I ever imagined. I call it the four-corner focus. It's simple, but it gives me structure. It gives me direction when I feel scattered or unfocused, and that alone can be incredibly calming. Here's how it works. When I walk into a room I want to tidy or declutter, let's say the living room, I don't just dive in randomly. I choose one corner, just one, and I begin there. Maybe it's the corner near the window. I straighten the side table. I put away the magazines, fold the blanket, wipe down the lamp. Then I move clockwise to the next corner. That might be the couch. I fluff the pillows, tuck in the throw, and pick up whatever has found its way underneath. Usually a sock, a tissue, or some forgotten toy from when the grandkids came over. Next, I move to the dining area and then finally to the TV stand or bookshelf. Whatever's in that final corner. By the time I return to the door where I started, the room feels new again. It feels manageable. It feels mine. You see, the magic of this method is that it turns a big, overwhelming task into something quiet and focused. It's not about rushing. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, one corner at a time. There's something deeply comforting about having a plan that doesn't require energy you don't have. It respects your pace. It respects your season of life. And here's something I didn't expect. As I move around the room, corner by corner, I begin to notice what I really need and what I don't. That old candle I've never lit. The stack of newspapers I keep meaning to read. The dusty frame with a photo that no longer brings me joy. Decluttering becomes less about throwing things out and more about choosing what belongs. What supports the life I live now, not the life I used to live or thought I would live. The four-corner focus brings me back to the present. It keeps me from getting stuck in guilt or overwhelm. I don't have to fix everything all at once. I just have to start in one place and keep going gently. So, if you ever feel frozen in the face of too much mess or too many memories, try this. Pick a room, pick a corner, and let it lead you. The rest will follow. You'd be amazed how different a space and your spirit can feel after just one lap around a room. Habit 6. The 555 Reflection. There's a kind of overthinking that shows up when we're older. Not about work deadlines or raising children, but about what to keep, what to give away, what matters. I used to spend way too much time holding an object in my hand, staring at it, going back and forth like I was solving a major life puzzle. Should I keep this sweater? Will I regret giving away this book? What if I need this blender again, even though I haven't used it since 2014? That's when I started using what I now call the 555 Reflection. It's a simple set of questions I ask myself whenever I feel stuck between holding on and letting go. I ask, will this matter in 5 minutes? Will it matter in 5 days? Will it matter in 5 years? It's so simple, and yet it changes everything. Let's take that old sweater. Maybe it reminds me of a special lunch with my sister, but I haven't worn it in 3 winters, and it doesn't quite fit anymore. If I give it away, will it matter in 5 minutes? Maybe. I might hesitate. Will it matter in 5 days? Probably not. I'll be busy doing life and it'll be out of sight. Will it matter in 5 years? No, not one bit. You see, our minds often hold on out of habit or guilt. But our hearts already know when it's time to let go. This reflection just gives our hearts the space to speak. And here's the beauty of it. This isn't just about physical things. I've used the 555 Reflection in all sorts of moments. When I get anxious over a small mistake I made, I ask myself, will this still matter in 5 days? When I get caught up in someone's opinion of me, I ask, will this mean anything 5 years from now? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no go-y, and I feel the weight lift almost immediately. It helps put things in perspective. It helps me remember that not everything deserves a place in my home or in my head, especially in this chapter of life when every day is precious. I don't want to waste emotional energy on things that truly don't matter in the long run. That old vase from a coworker I haven't spoken to in 20 years, let it go. That guilt over giving away a kitchen gadget someone gifted me 5 birthdays ago, let that go too. This practice isn't about being cold or detached. It's about being honest and kind. Kind to yourself and the life you're still building right here and now. The 555 reflection helps me clear more than clutter. It helps me clear the fog from my decisions so I can live with more clarity and peace. And at this stage in life, peace is worth everything. So next time you feel torn about something, whether it's an item, a thought, or a decision, pause and ask, will this matter in 5 minutes? Will it matter in 5 days? Will it matter in 5 years? You might be surprised how quickly the answer shows up. Habit 7. The Tetris Theory. Have you ever played the old video game Tetris? If you haven't, I'll describe it to you. It's a game where differently shaped blocks fall from the top of the screen, and you have to rotate and place them to create neat, complete rows. The rows disappear once they're filled, giving you more space to keep playing. If you let the blocks pile up too high without creating order, the game ends. It may sound strange, but that little game taught me a lot about life, especially in my home. I call it the Tetris Theory. In Tetris, you can't control the shape of the pieces that come your way. You just do your best to place them where they fit. Some pieces are awkward, some are perfect. But over time, you learn to recognize patterns, and with a little practice, you get better at knowing where things go. That's what decluttering has become for me. It's not about making things look perfect. It's about learning how to make space, one piece at a time. And just like in the game, I found that empty space isn't something to fear. It's something to protect. For years, I thought I had to fill every shelf, decorate every table, hang something on every wall. But I've come to believe that empty spaces are sacred. They give your home and your spirit room to breathe. Think about it. When you walk into a room that's packed with stuff, even if it's nice stuff, your mind starts to race. Where do I look? What do I do? But when you walk into a room with some open space, with breathing room, your shoulders drop. You feel calm, safe, grounded. That's the Tetris Theory in action. It's not about cramming in more. It's about recognizing what fits and what doesn't, and honoring the space in between. This idea has helped me redesign small parts of my home in ways that actually work for me. For example, near my entryway, I now have one small tray for keys, a basket for mail, and a space for shoes. That's it. No clutter, no confusion, just function, just flow. And the more I live this way, the more I notice other pieces falling into place. My mornings are calmer. My evenings are more restful. I spend less time looking for things and more time actually living my life. So, if you're someone who feels like you're constantly rearranging, constantly shifting, trying to make everything fit, I gently encourage you to pause. Let some pieces go. Don't be afraid of the space you create. That space is where peace lives. That space is where freedom begins. And remember, you don't need to fill every corner of your home to feel whole. Sometimes what's not there is just as important as what is. A gentle ending. If you've made it this far with me, I want to say thank you. Truly, thank you for spending this time with me. Not just listening to habits, but opening your heart to change, because I know letting go isn't always easy, especially when the things we're letting go of have stories, memories, and pieces of who we once were wrapped up inside them. But what I hope you've discovered today, or maybe just remembered, is that decluttering isn't about erasing your past. It's about honoring it, and then gently making room for the life you still have ahead of you. You're not too old to start fresh. You're not behind. You haven't missed your chance to feel peaceful, clear, and free in your own space. And most of all, you don't have to do it all at once. Even one small step, one drawer, one shelf, one thought, can be a powerful act of love. Love for your present self. Love for your future. Love for the people who will one day walk through your home and know that you lived here fully, intentionally, with grace. So whether you're sitting in a cozy armchair or sorting through memories in your attic, I hope you carry this truth with you. You are allowed to live lighter. You are allowed to change. You're allowed to let go. Not out of loss, but out of love. And if no one's told you today, I'm proud of you. Now, before we part, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What habit spoke to you the most? What's one small thing you might try this week? Let's keep this conversation going, like we're old friends chatting over tea. If this video brought you comfort, consider subscribing. There's more warmth and wisdom waiting for you here. And remember, you are never alone on this journey. Until next time, take care of your space and take care of your spirit.